So, Sal, Lauren, in our free group, Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy, sent this in as being her biggest challenge. And it was, I eat healthy 80% of the time. I exercise regularly and consistently, but everything I do doesn't change my body composition. I can't lose my stomach. If I look at food, I gain weight. I'm sure if I lost weight, my aches and pains would be reduced as well as improve my longevity and overall health. I think it's something that we can all take little pieces away from this particular challenge, don't you think?
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think sometimes that 80-20 rule is a very common approach when it comes to eating healthy or just life in general, because it gives us that level of flexibility. And for Lauren, it sounds like she's putting in heaps of effort towards maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And it's got to be super frustrating when those results don't match the effort that you're putting in.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that 80-20 rule allows for flexibility, and I'm going to focus on the 80%, I think, to start with, Sal, because I think that it's really important to make sure that 80% of what you're eating is actually well balanced in terms of her macronutrients. So her proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And how that's balanced is going to play a pretty big role in her getting the results that she wants. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay. So protein's really important because that's essential for muscle repair and growth, and it really supports you in your exercise efforts, and it's going to help boost her metabolism. So, and when we're working with our ladies in not just our free group, but also our membership and our VIP clients, we always come back to taking these, simple, small steps and approach to, making changes, because the smaller they are, the easier they will be for you to do. Then you can become more consistent with them. And then it means that you can then add something else onto it once you've got that level of consistency. So it starts to become part of who you are. And I know this to be true just recently with Kay and Veronica. And I had them focus just on eating a little bit more protein in breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they were blown away by the fact that they were reducing body fat just by tweaking something as simple as that protein.
Yes.
Have you got anything to add?
No, not at this point, no.
Okay, all right, I'll keep going then. If we move on to carbohydrates, like they're going to give us energy to do our workouts and all our daily life things that we do. But getting the right type of carbohydrates is pretty important. So we want to opt for, those non-starchy and root type vegetables that are high in fiber. And so that's going to help us regulate our blood sugar levels. And I think this is where variety comes in too, Sal.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is where you can have your colourful plate.
Yeah, because what can happen a lot of the time is we can eat, chicken and salad, chicken and salad, chicken and salad, chicken and salad every day of the week.
Excuse me.
And so we want to make sure that we're getting a good variety, because then we're going to get different types of nutrients into our body, and our body's going to respond differently. And of course, then if we start to talk about healthy fats, that's important for hormone production, brain function, keeping us full. And so we want to make sure that we get those unsaturated fats into our meals, like our avocados and our nuts and all those types of things. So I think in the first instance, I would say tracking your macronutrient intake, at least initially, would be a really great idea to make sure that what you're eating 80% of the time is really well balanced and it meets your nutritional needs and the goals that you have. Then the next part of it is that if you're just not sure, it's time to get some help on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think tracking's so important. So important. Writing it down. There's so many apps that you can get on for your phone now to track your nutrition, and a lot of them actually break those macros down for you. Now,
Yeah.
the reason why I say it's so important to track is because we can say, I'm eating really well 80% of the time, but are you really?
Yeah.
But if it's written down, I couldn't tell you what I had last Wednesday for lunch.
No.
But we can say, oh yeah, no, I'm eating really well because yesterday I had a chicken and salad for lunch, and I had salmon and broccoli for dinner. But okay, well, what did you have a week ago? We don't remember. We have so much going on in our lives that we do not remember. So as you said, tracking is so important.
Yeah, and it's a good point, because we're usually only going to remember the meal that we had just prior. And if that was a healthy meal, then we are going to opt for saying, yes, I've been eating healthy. So we don't necessarily identify with maybe that 1 or 2 days where we went off track.
Yeah, yeah.
And that tracking also gives you a good indication of what that balance is like with the protein, the fats and the carbs as well. Because one of the things that we can often miss is that we think, okay, I'm having a steak as an example, but it's also got fat in it.
Yeah.
So therefore, we may not count that when we're doing just under normal circumstances, but when we're tracking, we can go, you put it into one of these apps as an example, and it will actually work that out for you. So
yes,
yeah, but if you were having, let's say, some type of vegetarian or vegan protein, it potentially has carbohydrates in it, or it potentially has fats in it, or it potentially has both in it. So I think that's really, really important. So if we move off the 80% and then go to the 20%, I think it's important to also identify that it's okay to have these occasional, indulgences and really enjoy things. But, maybe some of the things that seem innocent to us, maybe it's a healthy protein bar as an example, that may very well have, let's say, for example, hidden sugars in it that could be, deterring us from achieving those goals as well too. So
now we did this on a couple of years ago. We had a look at some of the different nutrition labels.
oh yes,
and while those protein bars in the health food aisle say 20 grams of protein and it's in flashing colored lights, if you actually go to the nutrition label on the back, the carbohydrates could be 40 grams.
Yeah.
So it's completely pointless because your carbohydrates are more than what the proteins are.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it always comes back down to eating food that's from the source, so whole foods.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm going to move off of food because I think that's just enough to give Lauren at least some starting points.
yeah.
I do, however, before we totally go off what goes into our mouth, I want to talk about thirst and hydration because often when we're thirsty, that can be mistaken as hunger. And so we eat as opposed to drinking. And I've seen this
Mm,
firsthand with grandkids
mm,
when they've been staying. It's like they're in and out of the fridge and the pantry constantly. And I've gone, whoa, hang up, have some water. And it's like, I'm not thirsty. And I said, I think I've seen you drink, maybe 2 sips of water in the last 3 hours. I think it's time to drink some water. Yeah. And so, and also, you know, we might just eat because it's habit, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like it's time to have whatever the little snack is as well, too. So we
yeah.
just want to be aware of those types of routines. Staying hydrated, I think, is a really, really important thing as well, too.
And can I just add, you're talking about the grandkids, another one is, growing up in that era of not wasting food. So if you do have the
Oh, yeah.
grandkids and, they've left over 2 nuggets, oh, well, I'll just have those 2 nuggets. Or if you're putting their food on their plate for dinner, I'll just have a chip here and a nugget here.
Mm.
That all adds up as well. Um, so if you are struggling, how's that sort of thing going?
Yeah, eating off of
The
someone else's plate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's a really
mindless
good point.
mindless eating. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So let's move out of there, Sel, and move on to exercise. So kudos to Lauren. Like she's consistent with her exercise, which is great.
Yep.
And but I would ask the effectiveness of the actual routine that she's got. Does she have a mix of cardio, and strength training as an example? So is she doing that cardio workout, to get a heart rate up and burn some calories? And is she doing strength training to boost her metabolism and, continue that fat burning time while she's resting as well too? And so possibly it might be the type of exercise that she's doing or the combination that she's got happening that might be something that could be tweaked, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing is sometimes we can, I suppose, overestimate the intensity or the length of time that we're working out as well too.
Yeah. Yes.
Particularly if we're doing it by ourselves and we're not doing it, in a class environment. And even when we are doing it in a class environment, you can still dilly-dally,
Mhm.
can't we?
Definitely.
And we can still waste a little bit of time here and there, and then all of a sudden the session's finished and we go, oh, okay, that's good. I did my workout. Wonderful.
Yes.
But you actually don't, you walk away going, well, I probably could have done more. And the
Yeah.
reason you probably could have done more is because that effort at the time wasn't there. So
Yeah.
I think that's really important as well too. You got anything else to add on exercise, Sal?
Well, with the exercise, we do know that strength training, 2 to 3 times a week is going to help your metabolic rate. So if you
Mm,
do a, 30 to 45 minute hour workout, it just in strength training, your metabolic rates will be impacted, and those muscles are still healing 72 hours later, up to 72 hours later. And there's a lot of study behind that, a lot of scientific research.
yeah,
So you
absolutely.
can be sitting on your couch watching NCIS, at the end of the day, and your that metabolic rate is still going really, really hard because you've done a really good strength workout.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we should at this point maybe mention NEAT, so non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So, I always say that I was the active couch potato. So I would go do my workout, then I'd get in my car, I'd drive an hour to work, I'd work, then I'd drive an hour home again. And so I spent lots of time sitting as opposed to moving. And I think it's a really good opportunity to actually review how long am I sitting for, because it can be a real eye-opener. So there's so many different things that you can do to add that extra movement into your day.
Yeah.
Yes. So, you go to the bathroom, and if you happen to be in a corporate building as such, walk down a few flights of stairs and go to a bathroom on a different level as an example. That's going to be helpful. Instead of having meetings that are all sitting, get everybody to walk around the hallways, So there are lots of different ways to incorporate different types of movement into your daily life as well too. I also think that because of the volume that has been highlighted through this question, making sure that you're getting enough rest and recovery is going to be just as important as the exercise itself. And one of the things that we know, particularly about our age group, is that when we're going through menopause, we can tend to not sleep as well as what we used to. And so our sleep is being disrupted, and that can absolutely impact that recovery as well too, because what it can do is send our cortisol levels up, and that can contribute to a little bit of weight retention, in particular around that tummy area as well. So I think it's really, really important to make sure that we get that happening as well.
And if you don't know whether you're going through menopause, I think it's important to go and get your blood work done. Maybe it's something medical that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know that one of my daughter-in-laws was talking to me, and I said, you got all the symptoms for perimenopause, my love. She said, I'm only in my 40s. And I said, yeah.
Welcome to perimenopause.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I said, go to the doctors, get tested. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. Then I think the next factor is any stress. So, are you under stress? Because again, that can send those cortisol levels up. Again, that means it's going to promote that fat storage. And so we want to, just try and find something that's going to help us get that stress under control as well too.
And that stress doesn't necessarily have to be just work stress. It could be home stress. A lot of us are, I know yourself, you have got your mother that taking to and forth from doctor's appointments and that sort of stuff. That can impact our stress levels as well. Trying to fit everything into the day, grandkids, as well as running our own households. That can be very stressful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think really that the final point in all of this for Lauren is that tracking is so important. And, if she doesn't see any results from the tracking, then it could be time to actually get some level of accountability and support from some outside sources other than, going it on her own steam as well too.
That's a good point, because we had a client quite a few years ago, and she was coming to us doing a strength workout, and she was also doing a meal preparation. I won't say who it was, meal preparation. So she's had those meals delivered.
Yeah.
And she would have lunch and dinner delivered. And she wasn't losing weight. She'd lose a kilo here and a kilo there.
Yeah.
And because she thought she was eating healthy, she thought, I don't understand what's going on. So she asked us, you know, we have a look at the nutrition label. And the salt in her healthy meal was on one of them was like 3,100 milligrams of salt, sodium, and it's stuff like that when you have that accountability, that the person can go, let me check this out. Let me check that. She was shocked. We only need 802 milligrams a day of sodium at the most.
Yeah.
And it was in the thousands. And this was why she wasn't losing weight.
Yeah.
So then she went back and she was, choosing different meals to have.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Is there anything that you want to add to finish up with?
I want to, we are big on tracking. But don't just track your food and all your nutrition. Track your workouts, track your moods, track your stress levels. Everything that we've spoken about today, put that in your journal and track it. Because then once again, you'll be able to compare it. And if that weight, starts moving and starts coming off, and, you can mark down, oh, my knees feel really good today. I was able to do this. You're tracking those things and you're going to be able to see, okay, this is working for me. This isn't working for me.
Yeah, I know our ladies hate our weekly check-ins with the It's like, how's your stress this week? How was your sleep this week? On a scale of 1 to, whatever it is.
Yep.
It's like, it's too much, Peter. Can we just, just check in for our workouts? It's like, no, because the rest of it impacts it. Because then, when you say something isn't happening, we can look at this and we've got a better idea of, it may not just be the workouts, it could be something else entirely different for you.
Yes.
Yep. All right, so we're going to wrap up. I just think by addressing the various lifestyle factors, uncovering some of the bits and pieces that we've highlighted today, just questioning and asking yourself those, and really thinking about, do I need to change up my workouts? Is my nutrition needing a little bit of a tweak? Can I do with getting some better sleep? So just all of those things, it's certainly going to help you, move a step closer towards being able to reach that healthy lifestyle that you're after. So thanks for joining me, Sel.
Thanks for having me, as always.
You're very welcome. All right, ladies, we'll see you all soon. Bye for now. Bye, Sal. Bye.
Bye, Peter.